Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the three hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster, you know, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, this is Chris Haskell from They Live by Film. For those that don't know us, Adam, Zach, and we built a podcast over the last 2 years that's a combination of film discussion from three very different perspectives, as well as industry interviews with the leaders in boutique Blu-ray and 4K community. We started with Deaf Crocodile, but over time we've been lucky enough to speak with Arrow Video, Severin, Mondo Macabro, Vinegar Syndrome, Radiance, Indicator, most of the OCN partner labels. It's been a blast. You can find us wherever you podcast, and also actually recently as part of Someone's Favorite Production podcast network. We hope to see you online.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
Welcome to Rankin' on Bass, an offhanded joke that became a short-lived podcast. I'm your host, Mike Boyd. Joining me is an elf who wants to be a dentist, Chris Dashew.
At this point, short-lived. It's been almost a year. We've been doing
but
this
it only feels like 5.
5 years. It only feels like a lifetime. Well, it's funny, you know, we've talked about this a little bit when we did Barney Miller, I think, because we had to introduce how we met Richard. And we've talked about it on this show, but guys, that was like 2017.
Oh God, it does feel like it was 20. I think it was 2017.
That was like 2017 because I was in LA in 2018, and that's when our schedules didn't hit. So that was because that was the last time, and I was in LA, and I knew Richard the last time I was in LA. We've known Richard for 4 years.
But it feels like we all went to high school together.
Well, I mean, that's what happens.
In my heart, we've known each other.
That's what happens when you talk to people all the time, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, Mike, I've known you since 2015.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long time. But yeah, I mean, to your point, Richard, like, I don't think the three of us would be doing this show for as long as we've been doing it if we didn't like talking about dragons. Because that's what we were here to, because that's what we started the show thinking about, dragons.
Well, no, because it was a year ago summer when we were in the deepest, darkest of the quarantine and the deepest, darkest of, our nation's, peril. And it just felt like, yeah, let's, it would be really fun is to talk about Christmas specials. Oh my God, I want to talk about Christmas. And it just felt so warm. It just felt like a podcast. You sort of like just a warm cup of cocoa.
Podcast hug.
a podcast hug that would just like nurture us and our listeners, and it would all be about reindeers and elves and fake snow, and it all sounded like, here we are a fucking year later. I'm looking at 2D dragons clawing my eyes out. How the fuck did I get here? But hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
But like you said, Richard, we are once again plunged back into the peril of this nation with the dragons. We took the dragons straight down into that fucking hole together. That's why we're here. We've gone all the way around. We're back here.
If you haven't guessed it yet, on this episode, we are looking at 1982's The Flight of Dragons, an animated fantasy based on a story by George R. Dickson. It stars Harry Morgan as Coriolanus, one of 4 wizards who realizes that technology is pushing magic out of this world. He has to enlist the help of 20th century's Peter Dickson, voiced by the one and only John Ritter. They go on a quest in order to defeat an evil wizard and something.
So for the record, I would like to be called from now on Carolinus because I am the Green Wizard, if you know what I mean. That's all I could think last night. When I started watching the movie, I was like, I looked at my wife and I was like, I am the Green Wizard. Oh, big rip.
What? Oh, like Puff the Magic Dragon?
Puff the Green Wizard Dragon. I mean, there's a lot of really weird imagery in this movie, just right out of the bat, like right out of the gates, right? Like just
the way these dragons are drawn is pretty unique. They are so like round and puffy, and it's just like how
balloons with legs.
I mean, it's funny how it becomes such a main topic of the movie is how do dragons fly, because they really get into it. It's just like, well, these guys aren't aerodynamic whatsoever. They don't talk about the Chinese dragon that the one dude rides, which is completely different. But these other like Western dragons, how big that they are, and this whole limestone and helium and hydrogen. Oh.
The Chinese dragon is more serpent-like, like a little more snaky, like air eel or something. Like because that's how the Chinese dragon looks like
what a Chinese dragon looks like, right?
Yeah,
like,
he's right out of Shang-Chi. Yes.
Yeah.
So, but now, okay, but you bring it up. How big was our Venn diagram taking, like, you know, fantasy imagery and a love of fantasy things and pot? How, those Venn diagrams, is it a complete overlay or like 50%? What's the connection there? Because it does feel like there's a fucking Renaissance fair fucking...
I see what you're asking.
Lord of the Rings, man, you know, and then, you know, what the fuck is that? Because I don't really partake in either one of these. Okay, so I'm on the outside looking in, as it were.
How much pewter do you own?
Exactly. Yes, that's my point.
I mean, Mike, you and I joke all the time about the thing in Lord of the Rings where he's like, that long bottom leaf's been hitting you pretty hard, eh, Gandalf? Mm-hmm. Long bottom leaf is straight up grass. In Lord of the Rings, they're talking about smoking weed. Like, Saruman is talking about Gandalf smoking too much. The hobbits are essentially, if they're smoking weed, pipe tobacco or pipe leaf, but it would seem to me, Mike, I'm sure you would agree, it's something like weed. At least
100%. Yeah, the way that they're smoking down that old Toby, waiting for them to arrive after they've dispatched Saruman.
Yeah, they're smoking grass, like,
and just the Hobbit lifestyle, you know, it's so sort of sensual and indulgent, and there's so much food. They're constantly eating, you know. It's like this is a pot culture.
100%.
If you don't watch those Lord of the Rings movies and come away with the just like pure idea that you want to be a hobbit, I don't know what movies you were watching or books you were reading. Like that. Well, that's the story is about. You know, the hobbits are somewhat human proxies in a lot of ways, but like I don't know. The hobbits are the coolest characters in those books for a reason, right? But everybody's like, oh, Aragorn. So I was like, you just want to be a hobbit, like sit around, smoke weed, and eat, be left alone. Yeah. Like,
Yeah, walk around barefoot. You know, this
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
hippie.
I mean,
It's all hippies,
yeah.
and you know.
I think in the the mid to late 70s, stuff like Dungeons and Dragons and Lord of the Rings were kind of counterculture, right? I mean, Leonard
guess.
Nimoy sings the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins, and that's just kind of like a weird. I don't know. There's like a weird association with fantasy and pot culture. I just think it's counterculture. It's cool to look at.
If you had told me in 1981 that Dungeons and Dragons would be even more popular, bigger, more widespread, in 40 years, I would have jumped in front of a bus at that point. That would have frightened me about the future more than any other thing you could have told me about the future. And yet here we are. And all my kids and their friends, they're in their 20s, and they all do it. That's like their thing.
I have a friend who's been doing Dungeons and Dragons content on YouTube for 2 years.
Wow.
2 years in November. He raised like $250,000 on Kickstarter for his first thing that he ever did. He's a friend of mine. He's been on the Culturecast, I think once. His channel is the Dungeon Coach, but he's made a living from it, Richard.
That is my hope for my son Spencer, because he is a DM and he writes these things and he hosts a couple of different things. I don't know, I don't know if he's got enough, fire inside him to I'm going to take this out into the world and make some money. I don't know, maybe, but yeah, people are doing it.
And what's funny is it's not like to answer your question and kind of to bring this back to the thing we're kind of talking about and haven't really talked about. Flight of the Dragons is a thing that exists in 82 that is at a time where this stuff is kind of coming into its own in mainstream, and then it falls off in the what would you say, Mike? Like the late 80s?
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to remember when things like Mazes and Monsters and those things were out, where it was just
and Legend was at the tail end of that.
Yeah, it was oh my God, it's all Satan stuff, and people are clutching their pearls about it. It's calm down a little bit, please. But I mean, I was playing D&D, late 80s. Obviously, I stopped. Well, not obviously, but I stopped before I went to college.
Did it hand off to Magic the Gathering or other card games?
I think some people went that way. I do remember Magic the Gathering being very popular when I was in college, going into bookstores, and they would have tables set up and all these people doing their thing.
And if only you had known then what you know now, Mike, you would have bought one of those boxes for $50 then and sold it now in 2021 for $50,000. Because that's a real horrifying thing.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of the D&D, original D&D books are the same way. There's a sub-market in all of this for, old collector's items of this kinds of stuff. But what I find amusing about this Flight of the Dragons is it's so similar to The Last Unicorn. These are almost very interesting companion pieces because they're both based off of fictional stories that are very coded for something else. This one, much more so than The Last Unicorn, is really hard-coded with some interesting messages that magic stands in for something that I don't know. I took magic as one of two definitions in this, and one of them wasn't necessarily magic.
Oh, what was it?
It was religion, right?
Oh, I thought you meant it was...
Oh, sex?
I was hoping.
These dragons shouldn't be fucking one another.
What happened to all the female dragons, by the way?
What did happen to all the female dragons?
They were hanging out with the Entwives.
There were a lot of dragons voiced by James Gregory, though.
That's for sure.
Well, when you think about dragons, you think about James Gregory.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Don't you, Bon?
I was hoping he was going to do something closer to that voice.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was more of just a strange, just deep growl.
So, look, basically, we got Luger, we got Colonel Harry Potter, and we got who's the other guy? And Jack Tripper all talking to each other in this.
And Darth Vader.
Wait a second. Wait. Harry Morgan, his character in MASH. That's
It was Colonel Potter, but I'm trying to remember. It's not Harry Potter. Henry Potter. Yeah,
Potter. I was very confused. I was like, Colonel Harry Potter. I was like, what is Richard talking about? It's like he'll get this sorted out eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Mike. I know you've probably seen this. Richard, I don't know if you've seen this. Mike, do you know who Solarius the Blue Wizard looked like?
No.
Handsome Squidward.
Oh, okay. I can kind of see that. Yeah.
I could not stop seeing it. It's it's not like close. It's almost spot on.
I was glad that they didn't treat the Asian character too awful in this. I mean, he was a little Charlie Chan, but luckily not awful. I mean, having just seen Willie McBean and his magic machine, I was like, oh, are we going to go there?
I was worried the moment he opened his mouth that that's what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Who voiced it?
Don Messick.
I think it was, Don Messick, yeah.
Oh, well, of course. Because Mel Blanc was busy.
I was surprised that there's no Frank Welker in here, though there is, I think Paul Frees voices a couple characters, so that was kind of cool.
He doesn't sound like Paul Frees.
No, he doesn't. No.
Because he's the Blue Wizard, the one that looks like Handsome Squidward. And he doesn't. I kept checking the Wikipedia. I was like, which character is Paul Frees? Because it didn't sound at all like Paul Frees, and I was really disappointed.
Well, even the Red Wizard didn't sound a whole lot like James Earl Jones all the time. There were certain times where I was like, okay, yeah, he's definitely, like, there's one point where he says something is maybe their fate or something, and I was just like, it is your destiny, But other times I was like, it doesn't really sound like him too much.
I mean, I guess they didn't want him to do too much of a Darth Vader thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess Darth Vader is pretty much just James Earl Jones's normal voice.
That wizard looked like he was an escapee from a Bakshi cartoon. He didn't look like he was animated like the rest of the wizards were at all.
Like the brother of the Horned King in the Black Cauldron. Like, Jesus.
Right?
Oh, it was the most exciting of all the things to look at because everything else, it was weird. Like, the John Ritter character looked Japanese, and then the dragons looked just like their own fucking weird thing, and then like the wizards look pretty generic except for the James Earl Jones one. It's such a weird clash of stuff.
The Henry Morgan one looked very Gandalf from the Hobbit film. It's just like, okay, they basically just kept the team on from Hobbit and Return of the King and said, hey, we're going to do a new thing. I mean, I could kind of see a little Last Unicorn as well in there. I could see a little Schmendrick coming through on some of the characters, but yeah, I mean, you could really see the relationship between that animation and this. But yeah, that Red Wizard, I was just like, whoa, where's this guy coming from? He doesn't look like any of the other characters at all.
And his begetting monologue is wild. Oh my God, it was too much. I was like, and I will make them want to fight one another. So he was essentially just laying out the plan of how man destroys himself because of him, the Red Wizard, who I guess the Red Wizard's power is fear.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what it feels like, yeah.
Fear is, or his magic, his magic is powered by people's fear, I guess.
Right. He knows that fear is the mind killer, fear is the little death.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
The sleeper has awakened. Did you like this, Richard?
Well, no.
Because I know that this is not your kind of thing. I'm talking about fantasy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you get, like I said, you get a couple dragons in there, you get a couple wizards, and already I can feel my soul leaking out my ass. I think it was my soul. This stuff is always a bit of a like, okay, just we know what I know what country I'm in, and I know how long I'm going to have to be here. Let's just try to enjoy the sights and don't drink the water, and we'll be out soon. And on the way, enjoy the voice talents of the people you recognize. I mean, John Ritter was the real surprise in a weird way. It's like, wow, John Ritter. Okay, so like I don't recall him doing a lot of voiceover ever or voice acting or something. I'm like, okay, that's right. This is, early 80s. He's famous. That's a get. And how will that feel? And of course, it feels the way being in the presence of any part of John Ritter feels, which is fantastic. It's like, oh yeah, John Ritter, he was great. He makes you happy. Mm-hmm. So that was a highlight. That was nice.
I like this kind of stuff, but I felt it wore out its welcome after a while. Like that, this was an hour and a half. I was like, man, this would have been better about half as long.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of why I also said it reminds me a little bit of The Last Unicorn, because similarly, The Last Unicorn kind of did the same, right? Kind of wore out its welcome. By the end, I was like, can we get on with it? Yeah. I don't know why they wanted to make a full, like, feature-length anything, frankly. It seems like it would just be a bigger pain in the ass to do than a 1 hour.
I'll say this, though, and it goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. Oddly enough, and by the way, and I think it's borne out by the Lord of the Rings movies we've seen, there is an aspect of world building and world immersion in fantasy storytelling, and it's visual, but it's also the kind of stories. Like they're the same kinds of stories. That's fine. So are crime stories. So are superhero stories. But there's something about it where I think the people who really love that aesthetic and love that kind of storytelling want more. They want to be in that world for an extended period of time. Dungeons and Dragons, big, thick, 2-inch thick fantasy novels, and there's 15 of them. Game of Thrones. How much time can I please spend in this alternate world? Which argues toward, the people who love this movie, it probably couldn't be long enough because it's just more dragons, more wizards, more, please.
What's weird is this is pretty meta, too. Like, if you think about what this story is, it's based on, like you mentioned, Mike, The Dragon and the George. It's based on that book's plot, but it replaces the character in that book of just, like, some professor at a university with a real person. Peter Dickinson exists in real life, and he was a real author. And he wrote The Flight of the Dragons, which is like a speculative natural history book, I guess, about, that they talk a lot about it in this movie. They talk about how do dragons fly and is it the combustion? Like, that's where all that comes from. It's weird how meta this is because it feels really unnecessary. It feels like someone's trying to be smart. Like, well, I don't understand what the point is. Like, was that really a really big, important text at the time? This book about dragons and how they really fly? I don't know. It's just very strange. Like they really make a point in this movie to talk about it a lot.
Mike, do you remember the book in the 70s, that big coffee table book, Gnomes?
No, I don't think I do.
I own that book, Richard. It's sitting on my coffee table downstairs in my house right now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Peter Froud, isn't it? Or is he one of the
I think so.
Guys? Yeah, and it was just this really weird. I remember somebody gave it to me for Christmas. I was a little kid, but I was into I'm into ghosts and UFOs and Bigfoot. And the fact that it was like, oh no, this is an actual text about the race of gnomes and but it was sort of whimsical and stuff. And it was always like, whoa, what is this? And I remember that. And it was this weird, that's sort of like, oh, the conceit is we're taking it very seriously. No, this is real. This is a thing you can learn about. And maybe, I don't know, maybe that was really popular. I know Gnomes was very popular, but maybe Flight of the Dragon shared that same kind of.
Well, Flight of the Dragon, it was the first book. The first book is The Dragon and the George. And it was first of 8, I think, and 9 books. And then I want to say the author died in 2001. And the last book that he published of the dragon stuff was 2000. So he probably would have kept on going had he still lived.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, it's this weird like mashup of two different things. Like it's just a very strange choice to make the guy be a real person who wrote this weird book about how dragons would really exist. And again, I don't know if anyone's like asking that. I guess like you said, I guess people may have been asking that question, Richard, given how popular that gnome book is. Yeah,
I do remember this gnome book, having seen the cover. Yeah.
I straight up bought it for my wife at half-price books for like $7. And
That's
it
funny.
sits on our coffee table. It's a cool little book. I've looked through it. I've read some of it. It is. If you want to pick up something that's an interesting thing to have on your coffee table, you could do a lot worse. It's pretty cool.
Well, and even going back to Dungeons and Dragons, I mean, he's basically playing a version of he's playing his version of a board game with those characters, which are the exact characters that are in this quote unquote fantasy world. So yeah, it is very much building upon that. It kind of reminded me in that sense of like the never ending story. It's like you're reading a book about a story and then you actually get to enter into the story. But with this, he's playing this game and then one of the board creatures, the Carolinas, shows up and it's just like, hey, shrink down to my size and now I'll take you back all these centuries. Like, wow.
It's kind of Tron-esque too.
Yeah, very. Yeah, I can see that.
Oh, okay, a weird question. Mike, you don't have kids, do you?
No.
And I know, Chris, you don't have kids, but like, are you like, I only ask because there's that, when you have kids, there's like the first 12 years or whatever, there's a lot of like, I'm going to read to you as you fall asleep and also as I fall asleep. And you end up, I mean, this is the kind of stuff you end up reading. There's just a lot of like, because you burn through stuff and it's like, okay, you can't, we've done the Harry Potter books and you're doing stuff earlier than that and all kinds of this weird stuff and the never ending story. You brought that up and I just had this weird, like overwhelming sense memory of, oh my God, I remember
like watched over you. I watched you, Richard. You were like,
oh God, it's like fucking never ending story, boy. Never was a book more aptly titled. And I'm like, God, and I just started thinking about the dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of books I read word for word out loud that I have only the barest memory of what the fuck they were even about. Cause you're reading them when you're exhausted. You're just praying the kids fall asleep. You keep looking over and one of the kids is always still kind of like waving their arm back and forth. And you're like, oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me. I'm going to murder you.
I think Richard's hatred of fantasy stems from having to read his children fantasy books.
It stems from his hatred of his own children.
Wow. There you go. That's the root cause.
Oh my God, doctor, you've solved it. Thank you, doctor. Thank you.
Now, if only we could figure out a way to link your love of alcohol to your children, and then you've just got it scot-free for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, believe me, my love of alcohol is definitely linked to my children.
Yeah, that's why he dresses up his kids as Jim Beam and Jack Daniels.
The Beefeater. There was a time I dropped Owen off at daycare. And we're walking through the parking lot, going up to the front gate. And he stops in the parking lot, reaches down, picks up a penny, turns to me and says, "Here, Dad, for your wine."
What? Oh, my God.
For real?
He was 3. And I'm like, what the hell?
Wow.
I don't like wine.
I never drink wine.
Laughed him. I'm like, I'm a cocktail man. So that was.
I only get girl drink drunk.
Yeah,
that's right. That is me, man. I am Dave Foley in the Xerox room with a fucking blender and a pineapple.
If it doesn't have an umbrella in it, I don't want to drink it.
Hey, I'm with you on that.
I need a sparkler and a plastic monkey hanging off the edge.
That might be a little too.
Yeah, got too far.
You've got a little too far.
Bring it on back.
What do you think Don McLean was involved with this project? That's the real question.
It's interesting that he is our troubadour, but we don't see him. I mean, he's very much supposed to be playing that Glenn Yarborough type character.
Oh, yeah.
And then he doesn't do it. Like I think they credit him at the end, but when the music started, Andrea was like, "Oh my God, not this guy again!" And I was like, "No, I don't think it is Glenn Yarborough."
Then you looked at her and did 9 fingers.
Right.
God, he's here. He's in the house with us. It's coming from inside the house.
But yeah, that was an odd choice for that, and I'm surprised there weren't more musical numbers.
That was surprising. I was expecting there to be like at least 2 or 3 more.
Oh yeah, like once John Ritter learns how to fly, then like, great, here you go. Because at one point he gets merged with a dragon spirit, and so now John Ritter is a dragon, which was a little unexpected for me that he suddenly was a dragon human hybrid.
It's very Avatar.
Yeah.
No ponytail.
But think of how much he can learn about dragons by
He's so excited.
one.
The speculative history I could write when I get home. Just think.
I'll write that book, that unwritten book.
This will give me the opportunity to figure out how do dragons fly, and then waste 20 minutes of our time figuring it out. It just felt a little unnecessary.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I didn't necessarily mind that. It's once the other guy, the knight, takes the center stage. I was just like, I don't know who this guy is. I don't care about this guy.
Sir Orin Neville Smythe.
Yeah, he's just so, who cares? Like, give me somebody with, I don't know, give me an Aragorn or at least a Smendrick. Give me somebody with a little bit of a personality, because he just is very flat.
Like most of the character in this.
And it's funny, too, the way that, like, Harry Morgan can't go on the quest. And so he and I guess his daughter or the princess, I don't know if they're related. I thought that she was, but that they're watching everything kind of like us through their crystal ball. And it's just like she's narrating the story. It's like, yeah, we know, we can see. We are actually seeing this as you guys are seeing it.
Yes. At this point, you're basically just people talking in the theater.
Right.
Ruining the experience for us.
Can you shut up for a minute, please? Yeah, not good.
I did like Victor Buono as the wolf, though.
That was kind of cool.
I mean, he wasn't terrible.
When the wolf showed up, at the right time, but then there was like the elf and the warrior woman that showed up, and I was like, guys, we're at the end of the story. Like, you should have been here 20 minutes ago so we could have gotten to know you at all, because they just kind of show up and it's like, hey, we're these new characters. Okay, we're at the big palace now. It's like,
movie's
okay,
over, guys.
Yeah, really.
Hey, it's the second time we've seen Victor Buono in like a month. So yeah, murder can hurt you. He's back playing an equally strange character.
Yes. It's like, please, guys, you can. Yeah, they just weren't following the crawl rules. You know, you got to get the band together a lot faster than they did here.
Yeah. Well, then everybody just dies at the end, and then they all just magically come back. Like, okay, sure. I mean, that's very and I would say that's not very fantasy, but that's very this kind of fantasy, where like doing the one thing makes everything else perfect. Like, okay, no stakes whatsoever.
But it got into this weird thematic area, which was science triumphs over magic.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's like, but does it? Like, are the rules like, wait, what are we saying? It's like, because science is better than magic, your magic doesn't work. Therefore, everything you've done gets undone. But that's also, I'm like,
he forces him to deny the existence of magic, and that was the whole point of this movie, apparently, was to get this one guy to deny magic. And because the one guy denied magic, magic doesn't exist for anyone anymore. Like, what?
But that's like, what? So what are you saying? Like the genre that you're presenting to us, you've just invalidated? Like magic is the point and the fun. Unless the thing was, no, this isn't magic. This is all real. Dragons are real. Wizards are real. So it isn't magic. It's real. And it's like, wait, I'm getting mixed up. I don't know what you want me. It's like Scooby-Doo. I never liked Scooby-Doo because it was never really a ghost. It was never really a murdering, undead pirate. It was just, the guy dressing up and I'm like, is this supposed to reassure children that don't worry, they're not real?
Right.
It's making me feel like, oh, so the things that I like and am interested in don't exist, and you're never going to really follow through. So,
I thought you didn't like Scooby-Doo, Richard, because you just couldn't stand Scrappy-Doo.
I love Scrappy-Doo.
What?
No, I'm just
Does anybody love Scrappy-Doo? Like...
Scrappy-Doo, the introduction of Scrappy-Doo is weird because it seems to be like, oh, but we also need something for the kids.
As if a talking dog's not enough.
Right.
Let me at him! I'm Scrappy-Doo! Like, no,
we're
nobody's into
We're serving
this.
the kids. Are you now? It's like, well, now we got to get the slow kids.
Wow.
Wow,
It's true.
that's pretty awful. Yeah, I didn't understand what the stakes at the end of this were. Back to what you said, Richard. Like, the stakes at the end are strange. Because it's like, I guess you've denied magic.
Yeah.
Good work. What are you going to do now? Take a shit on Christmas?
I know. It's like Coriolanus. Is he just like, well, no, I'm out of a job. Okay, thanks. Thanks a lot, human.
I didn't understand. Is that what Coriolanus, is that what he wanted him to do?
It doesn't feel like it.
Well, that's what the other wizards say at the end, is that's what he wanted him to do.
I thought he was there to help save magic. So
did he save magic by putting it in a pocket universe to be saved by the Doctor at a later time?
That's what it's supposed to be, I think.
That's it. I think,
Richard.
Chris, you're right on.
It's a pocket universe. We can return to this at any point in the future of this show. Thanks, guys. Great. I was going down the path with this movie that magic was a stand-in for religion. And that was what I was maybe it's me reading too much into it. But it was kind of coded that way in a little bit. Like, I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. I mean, The Last Unicorn's kind of similar. It's talking about serious topics with a fantasy setting. Which, to your point, Mike, when you talked about the weird Omadon character, that is very Bakshi. To do that.
Yeah, he looked very, very different from everybody else. And then they kept talking about his crown, how they're going to take his crown away. And I'm like, did that really ever enter into things? And because it felt like when John Ritter was there just shouting different branches of science, didn't matter if the guy had his crown or not.
E equals MC squared. Ah!
No! I am defeated.
This was not at all what I was expecting. I assume the three of us are in agreement on that, right? Like, boy, I would not have guessed that there would be, like, science equations being thrown out at the end of this fantasy movie. Like,
right.
Yeah. No.
Well, even his, even the name of it, I kept thinking that it was called The Flight of the Dragons, but the way that it's called The Flight of Dragons, I'm like, is this about the flight of dragons? Which I think it is. Or is this like, is that what you call a group of dragons when they're together? Do you call them a flight?
The flight of dragons.
Yeah.
I guess it is about the flight of dragons. How
I kept thinking of
fly?
I had a nice flight of margaritas a few weeks ago. It was very nice. I got to taste all these different types. So it's kind of maybe a flight of dragons that way would be okay.
So you're having a flight of dragons.
Yes. Pretty.
This meat's a little bit more tender.
Yeah. That's what you have when you go to Middle Earth restaurants, themed restaurants.
That's what's on the menus.
At medieval times.
Yes.
Not just meat, but also dragons.
Exactly. Them dragons is good eats.
I think I enjoy this. I think I have enjoyed this animated movie more than I've enjoyed a lot of the non-Christmas stuff that we've watched, though. Because I did like. I mean, I know that some of the performances didn't show up until later, or they were maybe underserved, but I still think the performances in this were a lot better than some of the other stuff that we've seen. They seem like the people are actually engaged, especially Harry Morgan, who, kudos to him for just, not just phoning it in. He could have. Uh-huh. I don't think anybody phoned it in, and I thought Jason, that's his son, John Ritter's character I know his character's a little dorky, but I think obviously that's the point, He's like Mr. Enthusiastic about everything. But I think this is better than a lot of the things that we've seen non-Christmas. I think this is probably almost as good as The Hobbit.
Did I ever tell you guys about when I met John Ritter?
No.
So this was in the year of our Lord 2002. And again, going back to that very first show that I did, which was for ABC. So the year my show was premiering, so was 8 Simple Rules About Dating My Daughter.
Right.
Oh, I forgot about that show.
And it was John Ritter, and it turned out to be his last job.
Yeah, that's where they had to like find a way to replace him, right?
Yeah.
But it was also a pretty big hit, right?
I think so.
It did well enough. ABC was doing pretty good with comedies then, not as good with dramas. They'd gone a few seasons without renewing anything. Mine was one of the dramas, and it also did not get renewed. But when the show got picked up, they sent us all to New York to the upfronts, and it was very exciting for me. It's like, oh my God, I've never done anything in television, and suddenly I'm here, and I've got a show on television. This is crazy. I mean, it really was sort of like winning the lottery. And so there's this big dinner at this restaurant in New York, and we all go there, and all the, stars and writers and stuff of all the various shows, and John Ritter is there. And I'm, I'd had a couple, and Michael Eisner is there, of course, being as thoroughly unpleasant as he can be. And
I've always heard he's such a nice guy.
I thought, so he's just being himself?
Yeah. Just fucking.
If you want to read some good shit, Disney War is a good book about Michael Eisner and him being a real special guy.
Oh yeah. No, he's putting out, just the warm air of a Dementor, and John Ritter is goes up to him and is being really funny and is like, "Thank you so much, sir. Thank you," and being really funny. And Eisner, of course, has no idea how to respond to this and just sort of like smirks at him. And
his nictating membrane goes. Understood.
That is exactly right. You can hear his eyes clicking.
Yeah,
that's he feels threatened. So then we both sort of step aside for a second, and I'm like, I got to do it. And I'm like, Mr. Ritter, I have to tell you, I saw you in a play in Los Angeles years ago called The Unvarnished Truth at the Amundsen Theater. And he's like, oh my God, you saw that? I'm so sorry.
Wow.
I'm like, no, it was great. It was good. I'm like, I actually was on a date. I took a girlfriend of mine that I was hoping something might happen. And we went to see it. And he's like, oh God, did anything happen? I'm like, no. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, it wasn't your fault. Believe me. If anything had happened, it would have only been because of the magic you sort of sprinkled over the evening. I'll have to take this one. He's like, well, that's no problem. He's like, I've got to invite you to another show so you can bring somebody else and maybe actually get laid. We've got to figure this out.
Oh, that's so funny.
But it is like it was like such a memory for me just to have like a funny conversation with John Ritter, who, what I didn't say was, and then I also watched you every single week on Three's Company as I was growing up, back when the very idea that I would ever work in the entertainment industry was such a faint glimmering star out in the depths of the galaxy that this moment could never have been predicted. But it was just really great. And he was such a nice guy, and he didn't know who the fuck I was. I was nobody. And, and he was just stood there. We had a 10-minute goofing around conversation. And then it was literally later, I think it was within 6 months, one day on set, in the middle of rehearsal, he collapsed. And Disney is literally right next door to St. Joseph's Hospital. So, it's within 100 yards. They could get him to the ER. So he collapsed on a soundstage, and they, instantly got him across the street into the ER, got him in there, and did what they could, and there was nothing they could do. And that was it.
Man, he's good in this, though.
Yeah.
I know. That's kind of why I said it was like, well, when I heard his voice, I got happy. So, that's a nice legacy to leave behind. I
think ultimately when I think about Rankin and Bass now, and I know we still have a lot of stuff to go, but I'm sitting Richard, enjoy. When I think about how far we've come, circling back to us having done this now for we're coming up on a year now. I think it's really cool how varied the stuff that they made was. because it really is all over the place. And for the most part, yeah, we've run into some stuff that's really not good. I mean, I think we can agree a lot of the stuff we've seen so far has been pretty interesting. You know, it's kind of boring sometimes, or just a little antiquated or outdated, but...
Well, I mean, and not to, jump the gun, but I think we still have I think we've got a couple of Halloween things coming up, right?
Yeah,
seasonally appropriate, right?
Some more Christmas stuff, too. I mean, there is still stuff left.
Well, there's Christmas stuff we haven't covered?
Yeah, it's like really tertiary stuff.
I mean, there's
I'm excited.
Cricket on the Hearth?
The Cricket on the House. There's a mouse one. I can't remember what that one is.
Yeah, the mouse that... I don't know, something. It's like a Mouse's Happy Christmas.
Yeah, I want to say it might be the Night Before Christmas.
Richard Gere's Hamster's Merry Christmas.
Oh, okay.
No. You know what? No.
Richard.
I'm not. No, I can't. I'm not going to stand here
Oh, my God.
and take a knock against Richard Gere and what he puts in his ass.
That's fair.
That man may do whatever he wants in the privacy of his own ass.
Yes.
It was 'Twas the Night Before Christmas is the one I'm thinking of.
And it's just I think it's the mouse is like narrating it.
Yeah, exactly.
There is stuff, Richard. There's still Christmas.
Well, and irony of ironies. Now that you mentioned that there's more Christmas stuff, and now that I'm thinking about the Halloween stuff, and it's early September, but with any luck, it'll drop below 90 degrees sometime before Halloween out here in Los Angeles. I am starting to get that favorite time of the year feeling, and maybe the magic of Rankin on Bass is coming back. Maybe when I thought the magic was gone, I just had to wish a little harder.
Richard. Boy. So what are we doing on the next episode, Mike? Is the next episode Halloween?
On the next episode, yes, we're going to be talking about Mad Monster Party. So be sure to go over and subscribe to us wherever you get your favorite podcasts at. I also want to thank Abby Stabby for our artwork, as well as the Great Octopus for our theme music. Definitely come on back and enjoy Mad Monster Party and Mad Monsters. Mad Monsters.
The maddest of monsters.
There's so many mads. I think it's 3 mads.